Hello and welcome to this review of Taito Arcade 2 for Evercade by Blaze. This is a 9-game cartridge of arcade titles ported to the Evercade and playable on all Evercade devices, though original Evercade units will need to be updated to at least firmware 3.0 for this to work. I was kindly sent this cartridge by Blaze for review purposes, but they have no say as to the content of my video, and my opinions, as always, are entirely my own. First up, we have Alpine Ski from 1982. It's a rather basic top-down skiing game, though it does have some variation and surprises up its lycra sleeves. You accelerate with A and turn left or right, allowing a little time for your rider to lean before you actually start turning, which adds a little more difficulty. The collision detection is very unforgiving, and I found this one more frustrating than fun. Once you've completed the first downhill course, collecting score as you weave between obstacles, there's a slalom section and even a ski jump bonus round, though I can't seem to land that one. Not a great start to the collection then, but this one does have a lot of charm. Elevator action is a little more involved than I gave it credit for in my original unboxing and first play video that I did last week, and it's pleasantly detailed in its combat. It reminds me a lot of Bonanza Brothers by Sega, and also Mappy by Namco, especially in the way that you can pass agents on the stairs. And I now see that you can indeed enter the red doors by standing on the coloured mat by the handle, rather than directly over them. This gives you a score bonus and is actually part of the aim of the game. The lights can even be shot out, and it's fun to fight agents in the dark. It's also fun to get them squashed by the eponymous elevators, though the violence does feel unnecessarily mean-spirited at times. Still, this is a very solid offering, despite showing its obvious age. Kiki Kai is a strange one, with a female character roaming around a Japanese graveyard, shooting at ghosts and waving her wand to bat them away. There are some really punishing boss battles here, and it's fortunate that Evercade has a save state function because some of the attacks are really hard to avoid, especially since there's no telegraphing whatsoever to let you know where you should be standing. As an arcade game, I believe it should be at least fairly accessible from the start, but even putting in credit after credit, I just wasn't enjoying it. It runs smoothly enough, but the sprites are mostly small, and the creepy tone is unsettling rather than fun, so I wouldn't recommend playing this one. Liquid Kids is a more fun and vibrant game with a really neat water element that sees torrents of the blue stuff cascade down over the level's platforms. There are fun pieces of level furniture to play with using the primitive water physics, and the movement is solid, smooth, and very chunky. I feel like a modern version of this with realistic water physics would be a really cool indie game, but in this form, it's at least playable and pretty fun. Operation Wolf is a first-person, on-rails shooter with nice big sprites, smooth movement, and satisfying explosions. It's actually compatible with a mouse if you have an Evercade system with a USB port. Just plug your mouse into port 2 and then you can click away. The bombs are the most fun to fire because the results are so spectacular, but they're sadly limited. Necessary, I suppose, but plugging away with the basic shot isn't very accurate with an Evercade EXP's D-pad, and the game is very 80s macho in the style of Rambo, which certainly won't be to everybody's taste. It is fun in small doses though, and there are quite a few stages to play through, so this is a strong inclusion, especially if you just love the aesthetics of 80s arcade games. This is right up there for that. Rastan is a fun medieval hack-and-slash platformer where you play as a barbarian using special moves and dexterous control inputs to find secret rooms and hidden weapons, powering up your character. It is very difficult, and the low RAM of the 80s arcade machines make for an acquired taste kind of aesthetic. It does run well though, and I do enjoy playing it. Again, it's exactly what gaming in the 80s was like, and it is fun just for a hit of nostalgia, even if you wouldn't choose to play it over, say, Cathedral, which is also on Evercade, if you want a really cerebral, involved platforming game. Pretty good nonetheless. The Electric Yo-Yo is a single-screen game where you score points for moving your yo-yo between nodes on the board, with more points awarded for longer jumps between nodes. Now, I know some people really like this game, they said so in the comments on my other video, but I haven't enjoyed it enough myself to go chasing my own high scores. There are at least board variations as you progress, and the scoring system seems well done to aid longevity, but I found the fundamental gameplay a little fiddly on the Evercade EXP's smaller screen and D-pad. I did test it out on a big screen as well, but I don't know, I think the precision and attention needed for this one makes it more stressful than fun. Still, it's aesthetically pleasing despite its simplicity, and there is a good high score game here. The New Zealand story, now we're talking. This is the arcade original of the New Zealand story, and it's aged pretty well. I would, however, argue that the Sega Master System version is actually superior in terms of level design because they didn't use everything from this arcade one. This version, however, is clearly a very charming game, and the combat is executed well. There's a clear reason to buy this cartridge, and it does deserve a place in your collection, no question. Volfied is the last game on the collection, and they certainly saved the best for last. It's a single-screen background reveal title in the same vein as its predecessor, Quicks, only this has a sci-fi slant. What wins out here, however, is the way the game is all about score, and the way you can manipulate the large boss sprites into becoming tiny and trapped in your maze-like rooms, and it's an absolute joy doing that. I love getting the bosses right down to just the size of my ship and closing off the rest of the level so that I get a huge score bonus. It really is utterly brilliant, and I do love this game. With power-ups like lasers, speed boosts, and score, as well as secret power-ups like hyper shots, this is just superb arcade gaming. So all in all, I'd say the collection is worth it for Volfied, the New Zealand story, and Elevator Action, Operation Wolf, Rastan, and Liquid Kids are decent inclusions too, but I won't be returning to the other 3 games. That means that this collection is less compelling than Taito Arcade 1 overall. So I give Taito Arcade 2 a well-deserved 3.5 out of 5. Not bad. So do check out my first plays of each of these and other Evercade reviews on my Evercade playlist. I also do a regular retro Let's Play series called Sega Sundays, where I talk you through a classic Sega game every Sunday from 8 AM UK time, so check that playlist out too. Please hit like and subscribe, and hit that new hype button too, that will make a huge difference to my channel. And if you fancy, you can also buy me a coffee on the super thanks button. I'd be very grateful. Well, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers.